Hello, my name is Mr. Hamilton, and today we will be learning about triads. Before watching this video, you should know or at least be familiar with intervals and the C scale. Welcome. Please take this time to download and print out the follow along packet. It should be in the description. Before we talk about triads, let's talk about dissonance and consonance. Most music you'll hear has moments of tension and release. Dissonance is the tension part of music. These sections usually sound rough, crunchy, and very unstable. For example, I'm going to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star over some dissonant sounds. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Unlike dissonance, consonance is the released moment in music. Consonant sections sound warm, smooth, and stable. As before, I'm going to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star over some consonant sounds. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Game time! I'm going to give you 3 examples of a consonant and dissonant music. After listening, raise the matching cutout from the packet to say if it's consonant or dissonant. Ready? Pause here if you need to. Let's start. Here's the first one. Great. Now take your time and raise your card. Great. Now we're going to move on to sample number 2. Awesome. Now take your time and raise your card and answer. Now we're going to move on to sample number 3. Awesome. Now take your time and answer. Thank you so much for taking this quiz. Check the bottom of your printout for the answers. And now it's time to get back to the show. Awesome. Now that we know the difference between consonance and dissonance, Mr. Reynolds is going to take it from here.
Let's take a second and review our musical alphabet. So right in front of me is my handy piano. It's got white piano keys, and it's also got black piano keys. For today, we're only going to focus on our white keys. And as you can see up here, I've put a little slip of paper that tells you the letter given to each note. So remember, in music, we name the notes we play based on our musical alphabet. Now notice that A, the first letter of our alphabet, well, it's over here. C is all the way over here, and it's the first letter in this list. Well, it turns out that basically in music, C can be thought of as the first letter that we use. So, check out what happens when I play all these notes back to back. That didn't sound so bad, didn't it? Well, guess what? This is what we call, in music, a scale. A scale is a bunch of notes that you can use to write songs with. And what I just played for you is what we call a C scale, because the first note I played was C. And not only is it called our C scale, in music we call this our C major scale. When you get older, you'll learn all different kinds of scales. But all you need to know for now is that a major scale kind of sounds like what I just played, even though there are a bunch of different major scales. So you can start a major scale on a different note, say if you want to start on D, but for now, let's just focus on our C major scale.
Hi, it's me again, just at a later date. But don't mind the change. I have my beautiful piano right here. I would like to advise you to get out your pocket piano and follow along with me in this section. I'm going to play the C major scale, just like you guys went over with Mr. Reynolds. And I'm going to play a repeating C as I play the scale with you today, so you can hear whether these notes are consonant or dissonant with each other. Let's start. Feel free to take out a colored pencil and color in the notes that you think, color in the keys that you thought were consonant with blue, and the color in the keys that you thought were dissonant with red. Hey, this is what my colored in part looks like. Let's take a look at these three notes, C, E, and G. Thanks, Mr. Reynolds. Let's take a look at those notes that you guys picked out. C, E, and G. These notes sound consonant together, right? Yes, they do! I'm going to do a cool thing and stack them together. You're probably asking yourself right now, wait, but why does it work like that? Well, Mr. Reynolds is going to answer that question for you right now.
So let's recap everything that we've learned so far. Right now, we're looking at a C major scale, which starts on, you guessed it, the note C, and goes all the way up to C. It just happens to be a higher C. Before we started talking about our C major scale, though, Ben was telling us that, hey, if you play some notes together, they might sound kind of crunchy. But if you play other notes together, they might sound really nice. Well, it turns out that there are a couple notes that Ben was just looking at in our C major scale that we're going to keep looking at. They were C, E, and G. And when you play C, E, and G Together, you get a pretty lovely sound. And if you've ever heard of the word chord before, guess what? You're in luck. You just learned what chords are in music. Chords are, simply put, when you play multiple notes together. So they're used all the time in songs. All it is instead of playing C and then E and then G, you put them all together and they mix. That's what we call harmony. So, how does this work though? What do we call this? Well, first of all, notice something interesting. C and E. There's a note in between them, right? D. Okay. And also, there is another note that is in between E and G. F. So, we know that C and E aren't right next to each other. In other words, it's not a step over to E. Rather, it's a skip. We skip over D to get to E, and we skip over F to get to G. So, with that in mind, we have two skips that make up this chord. And what do we call this chord? Well, it actually turns out it's pretty simple. C, E, and G is a C major chord. Why do we call it a C major chord? Well, let's look back at our C major scale. We have C, we have D, and then look, we have E, then we have F, and remember, we skipped over D and we skipped over F. Now we have G. And then we finish off the rest of the scale. But look, check this out. If I take off the top notes, right? By C, by B, and by A, and then remember what I said earlier, we skipped over D, so let's take D out, and we skipped over F. Well, check that out. We have our notes that we were just looking at, and they were in the C major scale, were they not? That is why we call C, E, and G a C major chord. And once again, our C major chord with C, E, and G, put them all together, it's a lovely sound.
This group of notes is called a triad. A triad is a stack of three notes on the musical staff. A triad is made up of a root, a third, and a fifth. In this case, the root is C, the third is E, and the fifth is G on the top. And to help us remember, I have a little song. 2, 3, 4. I made a dance to this song. You're gonna see it soon. If you want to dance, feel free to. Just so you know, the lyrics are gonna be in the packet, so don't worry about if you can't understand what I'm saying. Trees, roots on sea, E, bark on thee, G, oh G, those leaves. Trees, roots on sea, E, bark on thee. Geology, those leaves. Tree roots on Z. E bark on thee. G O G those leaves. Thanks, guys.